students to the massive open online course on Indian economy. Today I will discuss education and human resource development. After completing this module, you will be able to understand the relation between education and human resource development. What is the linkage between education and human resource development? You will get to know the functions of Ministry of Education in India, and finally you can easily identify the role of education in human resource development in India. That is how the human resource development is functioning in the context of the Indian economy. Now, regarding the plan of discussion. First, we will discuss the introduction part. In the introductory part, you will get to know the meaning of education and human resource development, what are the objectives or aim of education and how it is related with the human resource development in India. Then you will be knowing the relationship between education and human resource development. The different functions of human resource development will also be discussed, and finally we will be discussing the importance of human values in education. In the second part, I will discuss regarding the Ministry of Education in India. In this part, I will highlight on the organizational structure of the Ministry of Education in India, the main objectives of the ministry, and then I will discuss the major initiatives undertaken by the Ministry of Education Innovation Cell. In the third part, the different role of education in human resource development in the context of the Indian economy will be discussed. In this part, you will get to know the status of human resource development and education in India. And you will also understand the different educational related problems in the context of the Indian economy. That is, what are the different constraints that the Indian economy is facing to get with the educational system or to get with the educational structure in this economy. And finally, we will give some concluding remarks will be made after completing this module. In the introduction part, first we will discuss the meaning of education and human resource development. Now, we all are quite aware of the fact that the role of education in human resource development is vast. Teachers and the educational institutions act as the socializing agents to spread education among the individuals or in the society itself. Social reformers over the ages proved the value of education by helping the society to remove various malpractices such as caste restrictions, inequality of women, among others. Without education, there would not have been any change in the society, which includes doing away with social evil customs and different malpractices. The requirement for education is not for an individual but for the whole society itself. Now, we will discuss what do we mean by human resource development, HRD. Human resource development, HRD, basically refers to the vast field of training and development provided by organizations to increase the knowledge, skills, education, and abilities of their employees. Education improves productivity and prosperity and also improve enriched life experience. So without education, without having proper knowledge, we cannot improve productivity, we cannot prosper in life, and we cannot have some good life experiences. So education is very, very important for all of us, for the society as a whole. It does not include only contribution towards the growth of the people, but also the development of the society as a whole. Education increases national income and other cultural richness. So to increase the national income of the country, individual income should be increased, and that is possible only with the help of education. Higher is the educated people, the more education if the people or the individual is having, the more income it will gain. So this is the general scenario of any economy, that is, the more educated the people is, he will be earning more income. So with more and more income of the individuals, the national income of the economy will get increased. So without education, we cannot increase the national income of the economy. Now we will discuss the relationship between education and human resources. Education and human resource development are essential for human progress, and it also contributes tremendously towards worker efficiency and productivity. If a person is educated, his productivity will increase. Productivity means the total output the individual is producing divided by total number of hours of work. If the people is more educated, he will be producing more and more output, and with increase in output or with higher output, the productivity, that is the total output divided by the total number of hours, will get increased. Also, with increase in education, efficiency may get increased. Now, what do we mean by efficiency? That is to produce maximum output with the available inputs. So with a given number of hours of work, a person who is more educated will be producing more compared to a person who is less educated. So we can say that with more and more education, with more educated people, we will be able to increase the productivity as well as the efficiency. So both productivity and efficiency will increase with the education or with the more and more educated people. So there exists a positive relationship between educated people and productivity, as well as there exists a positive relationship between the number of educated people and efficiency. Along with this, we can also mention that self-development, learning, training and development among employees must be encouraged in organizations as the bedrock for effective management of development. Now I will come to the main functions of human resource development. Basically, there are three functions. One is the recruitment, second one is the compensation of employees, and the third one is designating work. Ideally, the role of human resource management is to find the best way to increase the productivity of an organization through its employees. Educational system influences changes in society in variety of ways, like education of women, education of backward classes, role of education in human resource development, and the role of education in human capital formation. Now, I will come to the importance of human values in education, which is very, very important in our daily life. First one is the educational institutions give special focus on value-based education. It also helps students to become more and more responsible and sensible and to understand the perspective of life in a better way. Children can also understand that a successful life is beyond being a good person. Education also includes to become a responsible citizen. Value-based education provides a positive direction to children to shape their future. Now regarding the second topic of our module, that is the Ministry of Education in India. The Ministry of Education, which is basically a ministry of the Government of India, is responsible for the implementation of the national policy on education. The ministry is divided into two departments: the Department of School Education and Literacy and the Department of Higher Education. The Department of School Education and Literacy basically deals with primary, secondary and higher secondary education, adult education as well as literacy. Whereas the Department of Higher Education deals with university level education, technical education, scholarships among others. Now I will discuss the main objectives of the Ministry of Education in India. The first and the foremost objective of the ministry is to formulate the national policy on education and to ensure that it is implemented in letter and spirit. The second objective of the ministry is to make a planned development including expanding access and improving quality of the educational institutions throughout the country, including in regions where people do not have easy access to education. The third objective of the ministry is to pay special attention to disadvantaged groups like the poor, females and the minorities. The next objective is to provide financial help in the form of scholarships, loan subsidy, among others, to deserving students from deprived sections of the society. And finally, the objective of the ministry is to encourage international cooperation in the field of education, including working closely with the UNESCO and foreign governments as well as universities to enhance the educational opportunities in the country. Now regarding the ministry's innovation cell. The MHRD's innovation cell, which was formed in August 2018, is due to the Ministry of Human Resource Development. It systematically fosters the culture of innovation, entrepreneurship and startups in all major higher education institutions in India. The MHRD's Innovation Cell is now renamed as Ministry's Innovation Cell MIC. Now, what are the major initiatives of MIC? The first one is the Smart India Hackathon. We call it SIH. The second one is the Atal Ranking of Institutions on Innovation Achievements. Third one is the Institutions Innovation Council, IICs. Then the National Innovation and Startup Policy for Students and Faculties in Higher Education Institutions, that is NISP. Then the Innovation Ambassadors Program, and finally the MBA or PGDM program in Innovation, Entrepreneurship and Venture Development, that is IEV. Now I will discuss the third point of the module, that is the role of education in human resource development in India. If we consider the quantity, then in terms of quantity, India has abundant human resource with a population of 1.2 billion people. It is the 7th largest country by area. It is the second most populous country in the world, and 62.5% of the population is between the age group 15 to 59. But in terms of quality, that is, if we consider the qualitative aspect, then human resource of India suffers from various limitations like low level of technical and professional skills of the labor force, low labor productivity, unskilled laborers, lack of experts, senior managers and technical workers in all industries. And finally, there is inappropriate human resource structure, which is another major constraint the Indian economy is facing in the context of education and human resource. Now we will get to know the status of human resource development and education in India. In this part, I have prepared a table, that is table 1, which talks about the literacy rates in India. Now, over the time, that is from the census year 1951 to 2011, it can be seen that the total literacy rate in India has increased. There is an increasing trend of the total literacy rates in India. Also, if we consider the male and female literacy rates in India, then also I can show you that this male and female literacy rates also shows an increasing trend in India. But if you compare between the male and the female literacy rates, then you will be observing that from 1951 onwards up to 2011, there is a massive difference in literacy rates. The literacy rate in case of male is much higher compared to the female. In the context of the different census years, that is from 1951, during 1961, 71, 81, 1991 to in 2001 as well as in 2011, the female literacy rate is below the male literacy rate. So you can easily identify that a gender discrimination exists in the context of educational system in India as well. Now I will discuss the growth of higher education institutions in India. In table 2, you will get to know the growth of higher education institutions in India, that is the number of universities and number of colleges. In the third column, you can see the growth of universities. If you compare between 1951 and 2011, you can easily conclude that the growth of universities has increased as well as the growth of colleges has also increased compared to 1961 to 2011. But if you consider the different census years, then you can see that there is a little bit fluctuation in the growth rate. That is, compared to 1961, the growth of university has increased in 1971. But in 1981, the growth rate has declined. Whereas in 1991, it has again increased. And then in 2001, it has fallen. But finally, in 2011, the growth rate of university has increased. Now come to the growth of colleges, that is in the last column or in the fifth column. If you compare between 1951 and 2011, the growth of colleges has increased. But if you consider the different census years, then there is again a little bit fluctuation like that of the growth of the universities. That is, in 1961, the growth is 1.22, whereas in 1971 it has increased, whereas in 1981 the growth rate has fallen. But again in 1991 it has revived, in 2001 again the growth rate has increased, and finally in 2011 the growth rate has again increased. So we can say that there is an increasing trend in the growth of number of universities as well as colleges over the years. So there is a considerable increase in the literacy rate in India since 1951 till 2011. We can also link the literacy rates with the GDP of the country, and GDP in 1951 was 2.33, whereas it has increased to 6.69 in 2011. The government is also aware of the importance of education, so it is considerably increasing the investment in education. Gross enrollment of all categories of students in primary, upper primary, elementary, secondary, senior secondary and higher education has increased since 1951. The Indian government has also started various schemes to increase the literacy ratio, such as education for all, free education for girls, midday meal in schools, among others. The total enrollment as well as the girls' enrollment has also increased over time due to the various schemes adopted by the government of India. Now there are so many educational related problems that India is facing. Now what are the problems that we will come one by one? The huge shortage of teachers is a serious issue. Another problem is the gender discrimination which exists in the educational system, that is, there is disparity between the male and the female teachers. Disparity is also seen in case of gross enrollment ratio, and only 46% of the total enrollment is the girls. Now the concluding part. The major takeaways from the present module is the function of education cannot be denied in human life and for societal development. With progress, we will be able to eradicate illiteracy altogether in the nation and move forward in the truest form. Human resource development is very important in today's world. Education is the real essence of human development. Sustained development cannot be achieved without education. Indian government has taken several steps for human resource development. As a result, progress has been achieved, literacy and GDP has increased, but it is not as impressive as compared to other developed or emerging countries. If we can take proper initiative to eradicate barriers of human resource development, then we can convert the huge population into assets of the country. So the steps that may be taken for the improvement of the educational system in India may be: the educational system should be open and flexible as well as connected to external environment. Accountability in the field of education and training should be improved. Efforts should be taken to reduce the disparity between male and female enrollment ratio, and girl child should be encouraged to take education. Also, the professional ethics and market demand oriented curriculum for higher education should be formed. Outdated teaching methods should be replaced by modern techniques. Vocational training needs increased investment through government and private sector to assist in creating knowledgeable, skillful and professional workforce. Thank you.